Hello everybody and welcome to the latest update from the PSN Solutions Advisory Group, brought to you by Socitm. There wasn't an update last month because we were waiting for the IA15 event, which is the large information assurance conference that's run by CESG. That's now taking place and there's been quite a few announcements and quite a few things happening, so now I'm pleased to be able to sort of give you an update. One of the talks that happened at IA15 was from the Joint Chiefs of Staff of MOD, and they were looking at the defence side of cybersecurity and information assurance, and it was very interesting that it was actually said that cyber is no longer a discretionary part of the military. Whilst I completely understand that we're not talking about that, we're talking about the wider public sector and local public services. One thing that is very obvious, especially after recent attacks and breaches that have happened, that I'll go into in a minute, we do need to now really think about cybersecurity and information assurance as one of the key fundamentals of transacting business safely and protecting our information. It was said that the average cost of a data breach is now in excess of £100,000 in terms of time, not to mention the reputational damage and the damage to citizen trust and things of that nature. A breach in a large organisation, such as things that recently happened with TalkTalk, can cost millions of pounds. So even in times of austerity with all of the cuts, I strongly urge you to really think about digital resilience, resilience of online services, and just how you would cope with a data breach if one was to occur. There is a new CESG website that's just being launched at the moment. The URL for that is beta.cesg.gov.uk, and the significance of that website is that it has brought together much of the guidance at official all in one place. So over the last few months I've been telling you about all sorts of bits of guidance that's been appearing on GDS blogs, and they continue to be the best place to find the latest information. Excuse me, but all of this information has now been brought and put into one place on the CESG website at official. So that beta.cesg.gov.uk is now the place to go to pick up all of the guidance and the current information. One of the new things that's been published that is very significant is new guidance on passwords. Now, passwords have been one of the things that's caused a lot of problems for a lot of people over a long period of time. But I strongly urge you to have a look at all of the new CESG guidance on passwords, which has been wholly supported by CPNI and GCHQ. I have already put the links of that on the solutions section of the Knowledge Hub. But again, after today's video, I will be putting a whole load of backup links and URLs onto the Knowledge Hub as well. I'll also be putting the same information on the CISP website, which again I've mentioned to you before. There's been a lot of talk as well about what's happening with GCSX email and the closure of some of the GCF services. There are detailed guidance notes about what's happening with email services that's been published by the PSN team, and as I've said in previous videos, what's happened now is that there is no longer a mandation that you must use GCSX email. It's quite possible for any organisation to build their own secure email service. That's not saying normal email isn't secure, but obviously, as you'd expect, what's happened is that CESG have started to release some guidance notes on how to secure email, predominantly using TLS. It's all about TLS, IP reputation, having the information governance in place, the information sharing agreements between organisations, and coming to an arrangement. You will be able to keep your GCSX email suffix and either attach those to your own services or a service that you buy from a commercial provider. and there are a number of those. To be absolutely clear, if you just want to keep your GCSX email provided by Vodafone, moving forward you will be able to talk directly to Vodafone, and they will have a commercial offering which is identical to what you're buying at the moment but with a different badge on it. Excuse me. If you don't want to stay with Vodafone, you can of course either build your own or move to one of the other service providers. Now there is guidance even coming out on how to use Office 365, how to use Google Mail and other various things that you can buy through G-Cloud. So the options are there for you. The architectural notes are being published. The Cabinet Office Digital Leaders Group through GDS are in the process at the moment of going through some architectural patterns, and those will be published soon. But for the time being, you can go onto the new CESG website and download some of the guidance notes that are there that give you some of the layers, the underpinning layers to build that type of secure email service. There will also be a posture checking service which will come into play in due course as part of the PSN COCO to enable PSN or anybody else to check the posture of your email service to make sure it's compliant with those standards. So that again will be a way of organisations being able to get assurance through that service that people they're sending emails to have already ascribed and meet that basic level. So that will all be information and things that will be coming along later. I'm not making any announcement about email checking services for PSN or changes for the coded connection because it's not my place to do so. But there is a lot of work going on in the background, and as soon as that work is available, we will obviously make sure that everybody knows about it. I'm finding a number of inquiries coming out about problems with IT health checks and people asking about that. There's been some confusion, especially around credentialed IT health checks. That means where the pen testers come in and you give them details to get into your network. Well, of course, there is always a valid argument that I support that if people can't hack into your network, i.e. they haven't got credentials, your network's safe. Absolutely. However, that wouldn't cope for what would happen if malware gets onto your network, which is getting more and more common, and the problems are not going away. I'm seeing more ransomware, I'm seeing more bits of Dridex and other things which are getting onto networks through malware and starting to pivot around and take control of various assets and artifacts on networks. So of course, the only way you can make sure your network is properly patched and your network is properly secured on the inside is to allow a professional pen tester to go around your network, run the tools, carry out the techniques, and then make a report saying what they found. Now what I would strongly suggest is that if you have a look at the Cyber Essentials and the Cyber Essentials Plus that we've mentioned before, you'll find in there a very good sort of scoping idea around keeping your network artifacts safe, your DNS servers, your Active Directory servers, your key internal servers and services. Because nobody today should want to have an insecure network. But again, I'm not talking for PSN here, I'm not making any announcements. What I can say is that we are talking to the PSN team, we are raising a number of concerns and inquiries that have been coming into us over the last few weeks about all of this, and I do hope that some more clarity and notes will be made available soon. In the meantime, I wholly recommend once again the OWASP Top 10, OWASP, OWASP Top 10, which will give you a really good list of the types of things that should not be happening on your network. The TalkTalk breach was carried out, as far as we understand it at the moment from the news, using a SQL injection. That type of error has been around for the last 15 years. That should not be happening. And the fact that purportedly a 15-year-old was able to do it in their bedroom with very unsophisticated tools and techniques, it just goes to prove. And that's another reason why credential checks are absolutely vital. Because if you don't have your wireless network properly tested, your websites and your internal servers, you will be vulnerable to attacks and breaches from malware and very low sophistication organised criminals. Much of this malware is actually automated. You can get these kits on the web very easily for very little money, and maybe some organisations you might want to get your security managers to advise you as to just how simple it is and even give you a demonstration. Again, I've recommended Cyber Essentials to you and the 10 Steps to Cyber Security. I will also mention again the CESG Cyber Resilience Programme. There are a number of regional workshops going on at the moment. The next one will be in Leeds, which is in another few weeks. After that there's one in Bristol, then we have London, Cambridge, and we'll be going up to Sheffield. Sheffield. So there are a number of them around. I'll put the dates and another link so that you can get yourself on those. You'll be able to then hear from PSN team, from Search UK, from CESG. So I wholly and thoroughly recommend those workshops to you, and they are free to attend. The only other couple of points, again, it's not an advert, but it's actually mentioning that UK hosting for cloud is now becoming a reality. There's the Crown Hosting Service, which is a collaboration between government and ARC. So there's UK data centres where you can have your own rack space using your own kit, and of course announcements that have just been made by Amazon and Microsoft to both have UK-based data centres. If you haven't heard about that, that's really good news. The final thing I want to talk about is Safe Harbour, and just try to explain very briefly the significance of that. The EU's turning over of the Safe Harbour guidance hasn't made any major change really, because if you actually read the guidance notes, it's always said that you should use the EU model clauses in your procurement contracts. So again, Principle 8 of the Data Protection Act says that you need to have a level of assurance around offshoring. Adequacy is the word they use. So just like the technical controls in Principle 7, it's up to you to determine what the adequacy is. So nothing's changed the day after that safe harbour has disappeared. But again, I've produced some notes on that. I will put those on the PSN part of the Knowledge Hub. We'll do another update next month, which will be summarising everything we've covered during 2015. And I do hope that you've found these videos to be of use. So that's all I've got for the time being. So thank you very much for listening, and I'll speak to you soon.